You guys, oh my God. Jake and I are absolutely and completely freaking out right now. I can't even make my words come out right at the moment. Thank you to every single one of you that supported us. Thank you for every single one of you that's believed in us along this way. This is absolutely incredible. Gary, you're an angel. I know I've said it a million times, but it's true. You've changed our lives forever, and I can't thank you enough for that. Thank you guys all for everything.
Thank you.
What an incredible moment. Now, it is every creator's dream to sell out a project in the NFT space and to then have an incredible community who sing their praises as they continue to build their brand. Now, getting to these heights takes a lot of hard work, it takes a lot of talent, and it might just take a little bit of luck too. But if the stars align and everything sells out, well, an NFT can literally change your life. And that's exactly what happened to Sarah Baumans, the founder of the amazing Women and Weapons project. And in this video, I talked to Sarah about her journey, her artistic background, how a chance encounter with Gary Vee tipped off the moment that really did change her life.
So you are an artist. Now you are a full-time artist as of Thursday. And
Yes.
And this has obviously been such a huge passion for you. And NFTs has given you that work, that step into being able to do this as a full-time job, which is amazing. So let's go back to finding out kind of where you started with art. Have you always enjoyed art? When did you start taking it kind of professionally and selling your stuff?
I've been in love with art for as long as I can remember. Pretty much as long as time goes back for me, I've been in love with coloring, drawing, painting, you name it. And then about whenever I got into college is whenever I started selling my art professionally. So that was about 10 years ago now.
What did you find were the hardest things that you'd come across when you were trying to sell your work in real life?
Well, honestly, it's a very saturated field, and you have to really market yourself heavily on social media to be seen at all. So I kind of felt like I was drowning in an ocean of artists, really, and just trying to climb my way to the top. I would say I really started getting more traction the past couple years, and that's been the best that I've really been doing as far as an artist goes, but it's extremely difficult.
Yeah. And also, like you mentioned, social media, I mean, you're beholden to an algorithm. So it's not always working in the creator's favor. And that's the big difference about what the NFT space does, is it's totally about changing the creator economy. So what kind of art were you doing? Was it painting, or was it digital art that you've always been doing? Or when was that transition, if not?
So I've primarily been a painter. I have a lot of different paintings actually displayed in the house right now. I didn't really start transitioning until digital art until my husband got me an iPad, actually, which was about maybe a year and a half ago. And I started playing on the iPad and really started falling in love with creating digital art. And through the NFT space, it really tends to kind of mesh more so towards the digital art.
Yeah, absolutely. So your husband bought you an iPad, you got into digital art. What point did you suddenly hear the words NFT and do some investigating into that space?
Well, so if anybody's heard from Jake, or my husband, he has been super deep into crypto and NFTs, crypto for years, NFTs for about the past year.
Okay.
And it was maybe about 5 months ago was the first time I heard the word NFT. And of course, if anybody can think back to the first time they heard that and how hard it was to comprehend the concept, that was me. And it took several, question and answer sessions with my husband to really start understanding what NFTs are. Finally, I painted my Genesis collection, which was the original Women and Weapons collection, 10 pieces that I had hand painted in gouache. And my husband was like, let's mint these as NFTs and just, let's just see how it does. So I was like, okay, sounds like a plan to me. So they were minted as NFTs for, I want to say a few weeks to a month. And that's, of course, when Gary put out his tweet looking for some new artists. And the rest is kind of history.
Yeah. So for anyone that doesn't know, so Gary Vee kind of puts a tweet out. I think it's every Saturday or every other Saturday. And he kind of very generously says, you know, anyone that hasn't sold any art yet or is new to this space, drop me a link and let me know. I want to buy some work. And when Gary Vee says that in the NFT space, everyone listens. Talk me through that moment of when that happened.
Yes. So, of course, he put out that tweet. I, on a whim, just, giving it my best go, commented, would love for you to be my first collector, and posted my link. I also happened to be working at the hospital that day. So I'm in a patient room and I have my Apple Watch on, and my watch is just buzzing and buzzing and buzzing and buzzing. And I'm thinking, what on earth is going on? And I just keep seeing these Twitter notifications coming up on my watch. And I'm like, something's happened. I don't know what's happened, but something's happened. So I run downstairs to the office where we document, and I'm, kind of scrolling through my phone and scrolling through my watch and trying to figure out what's going on. I call my husband, and he's basically in tears. And he's like, Sarah, he says, Gary just bought 3 of your art pieces and the rest of them sold out in 45 seconds. Yeah. And it just, I think I was like, what do you mean? What do you mean Gary bought my art? Are you sure? And I'm pretty sure I literally fell out of my chair in the office onto the floor, which is not highly recommended in a hospital at all. But yeah, it totally blew me away, completely and totally shocked me. It was very difficult to finish the workday, I'll tell you that much. And one of the things Gary said was, make more now.
I want to jump back a little bit and ask you about your influences with your art as well, because when I first discovered your 10,000 piece, I didn't actually know about your Genesis pieces, but I found you through the Women and Weapons when you started teasing some of that artwork out there. For me, as a fan and a film critic of a number of years here in the UK, I have huge love for Pulp Fiction style, Tarantino, Robert Rodriguez style imagery and pop culture in that way. And it's something about your pieces really resonated with me on that. So immediately I was drawn to the art. Where do you get your influences from? What is it that really drives you, your artistic flair?
So traditionally, I've been more of a still life painter. So a lot of my art pieces have been florals, people, succulents, things like that. And I want to say maybe 6-7 months ago, I was like, I kind of want to challenge myself and think outside of the box and paint something that makes me think, will make others think. So I was like, I want to pair together 2 things that people wouldn't usually consider to be paired with one another, but that could both be very much compared in regards to their strengths and their beauty and so on. So I decided to pair together Women and Weapons. And I decided to paint that original collection with gouache, which, if anybody's familiar with gouache, it's almost like acrylics and watercolor married, basically.
Yeah.
And something about the texture of the paint and the flatness to the paint kind of made me lean more into the mid-century style. Yeah. So I decided to take Women and Weapons into a mid-century Americana type look. Because, that's kind of our quintessential era of the housewife, right? But, as women, we're so much more than the housewife. We've got all these different weapons in our arsenal, our ideas, our education, our empathy, our warmth, our creativity, and so on. And so I just thought it would be a really interesting pairing, the dialectic aspect of these 2 things with each other.
A question that I've got about the Genesis collection. You must remember what you priced it at, and how much that sale of everything there initially changed your life a little bit, because that must have been a substantial amount of money in the first instance.
Going into creating NFTs, I didn't really have a lot of huge expectations. I'm like, I'm just, this little artist, and this has kind of been the current trajectory for me, is that, I create art and it sells, but it's not massive or anything. So I was like, this is really amazing, and this is potentially a new avenue for me. But at the same time, I was like, but maybe the next one won't be as good. I don't know. Yeah. So it was a little bit of a light bulb that this could be life-changing, but I also didn't want to get my hopes up quite yet.
Now, you previous to that selling point, you'd thought about creating your 10,000 piece collection. Yeah. So what made you want to do the 10,000? And did you have to learn a whole new, because I find with those kind of generative projects, you've got to do so many different layers and, you know, thinking about all the traits. So was that sort of stepping away from your creativity and thinking more sort of logistically about how this would work?
So I was like, now that I'm in this NFT space, I of course have my gouache pieces, but I do really want to challenge myself and really take it a step further if I can. And so that's whenever I started thinking about the 10,000 piece collection. And I want to say that was a few months before we had minted our original gouache pieces, right? And so I was slowly but surely designing, drawing, like you said, there's many different layers. I was drawing backgrounds. I was starting to draw the bodies and the hairs and so on and so forth. But like you said, it is very strategic because, X might overlap Y, but that might mess up the way layer Z looks.
Yeah.
And so it was very much playing with these layers, constantly erasing things, redrawing things, trying to make things fit with one another. And I'm not gonna lie, it was like kind of made my brain melt at some points in time. I was like, oh my goodness, I'm like short circuiting a little bit. But once I finally got to the point where things were overlapping with one another and they were meshing well and, aligning well, it was like the most incredible high, really, because you're like, holy moly, I've put so many months of work into this and so many days of just like absolute mind-numbing, thought, trying to figure out how these things are supposed to layer. And now they finally layer right. It just was incredible.
It was a light bulb moment, right?
It was a light bulb moment, and like a huge accomplishment too. I hadn't even sold any or minted any or anything, but just the fact that I had created 200 plus layers that now are aligning well was like, wow, holy moly, I didn't think I could do that.
Yeah. And during the point in which you're doing that, is that so then Gary bought the pieces and were you like, oh my goodness, we need to do this fast. We need to get this going.
Yes. Yeah. I was actually still designing some of the layers at that point in time. So I had to really kick it into hyperdrive. I was getting home from work after like a 9 or 10 hour day in the hospital. And as soon as I got home from work, I was drawing until midnight, pretty much every night for like 2 or 3 weeks. And that's when we, quickly hopped on board, got ourselves an advising team, started working with devs, and everything was just rapid fire. I mean, we only had like a matter of weeks till we were like, we really need to launch this.
Yeah.
So it was quick. Throwing ourselves out there and just seeing what happens. We decided to message Crypto Mom because we had seen, everything that she had done with Boss Beauties. And we were like, maybe she'll respond to us. Maybe she won't. We'll see. And she did. And she was like, I'd love to get on a call with you and kind of chit chat with you about, your project and your ideas and so on. We completely and totally hit it off. And so she went ahead and introduced us to the rest of her team. And from there, they helped introduce us to our devs, and it has just been a very smooth journey, as an entire team so far. And clearly, we've been very blessed in being successful with each other as well.
She's a great person to have on board. But what she does say about you is that from the moment you started and the moment you guys met, you were the one that was bossing it and you were totally in charge and an absolute powerhouse with this. So to me, that says that you knew what you wanted, you went out and you got it, which I think, again, just fits so perfectly with your art. It's so empowering. And again, it's what this space really does for you, right?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I threw out my ideas and what I wanted. And thankfully our team, they just kind of read my mind and really ran with my ideas, and everything just worked out beautifully.
Let's just talk about, I've heard this so many times with creators and people who have maybe had a presence in the outside world, that you do have to start from scratch. So we're all on a level playing field when we step into, let's just talk about NFT Twitter. And then you have to start building that community from zero to where you are now, which is just, I think it's like 5,000, if not more. I need to double check on what you've got on your Discord, but it's growing by the minute. It's crazy. And I love the feel of the community there. It's one of my favorite Discords to be in. Everyone is so wonderful. How did you find again, before the mint, building that community, was it relatively straightforward, or was it something that actually was more challenging than you thought?
It really was very organic. I think we're up to like 8,000 people in our Discord, or a little over that now. People just kind of came in because they knew that we were a very positive and warm and welcoming community. And a lot of people, of course, found the art on Twitter, and from Twitter, went into Discord. It really does feel like home whenever I jump into the Discord, because I jump in and I see all these, usernames and these people that are in there that I recognize their names, and many of their names I recognize from whenever we very first started our Discord. And so it's like jumping in and saying hi to your best friends, your family. I love it. But, of course, I do ease off because I want people to be able to communicate with one another as well and build those friendships within the community.
I want to move on to the big day, the day of minting. And I want to kind of get your account of how that day went for you, because I'm sure it went from like nervousness of, is anyone going to buy it, through to, oh my goodness, what is happening? So talk me through it. What happened that day?
So the night before, I will tell you, I had a very hard time sleeping because I was just so anxious. I was like, what if people hate it? What if nobody buys it? I kind of tried to calm myself down and just tell myself, we're putting ourselves out there. Whatever happens, happens. And I'm going to be grateful for, whatever does happen. The day that we did launch was just really a massive blur. I mean, Jake and I were both sitting on our computers watching. We're trying to communicate with everybody in Discord and Twitter. We're communicating with our team. We're communicating with our developers. We were watching the website. And of course, we had our mint ticket holders, the people that had those drop space mint tickets. They went first, and boom, there was, 1,000 gone. And then it was our pre-sale folks, and then boom, another couple thousand gone. And, it was bonkers. And then all of a sudden, maybe like, I want to say 2.5, 3 hours in, we hear rumblings that Gary has purchased like 20 of our NFTs. And we're like, okay, we've got to verify if this is true or not. So we ended up verifying, yes, he did purchase about 20 of the NFTs. And then we start having some people coming over from the V Friends Discord, and they jump into our Discord and they're like, we just heard that Gary may have bought like 60 of your NFTs. And I was just like, no way, people are just messing with me. And then next thing you know, Gary tweets about it. And within like minutes of that, every single one sold out. And we decided to make our video shortly after that, which is the video that I think a lot of people have seen. And you probably can see about when the moment hit me in that video.
Yeah. And the tears came, right?
Yes. And, it was all very surreal. And as I was talking about it, I was like, whoa, this is real. Holy moly, our lives have changed. And then that's when the tears just started flowing. And I was like, I can't even process this. This is just so bonkers.
We know that you have now quit your job. I mean, that's life-changing in itself, right? And you're going down to a much more reduced rate of working. But actually, are you guys treating yourself to anything? Are we going to find you on a yacht anytime soon, just sunning yourself in Turks and Caicos?
Definitely not. No, we're pretty much your average Joes, that's for sure. We're not really trying to treat ourselves too crazy or anything like that. But our biggest focus is going to be reinvesting into our community. That's going to be a huge thing for us. As many people know, we've set aside 25 Ethereum to our patron wallet. We'd like to continue purchasing NFT pieces and helping boost the platform of our community and helping support artists that are coming into the NFT community. But we also did donate 5% of that to the Malala Fund, which is very close to us. It's going to help girls all over the world in underserved areas have the opportunity to get an education. So that's another huge thing. But other than that, we're pretty much living life as normal, with the exception of me going into work every day.
I think what's interesting is actually, after all of that life-changing moment and that entrepreneurial hype and build up to the mint, the hard work really actually does start now. So you can't rest on your laurels. You can't just, you can't take a moment to breathe, can you?
No, really, really not. And honestly, I wouldn't have it any other way. I'm absolutely loving this. I'm loving this opportunity to build. We're really excited for what's to come for our community. We're working very hard behind the scenes, trying to build things for our community that we are so excited to present to them. And if you guys head over to our Women in Weapons Twitter, we do have an announcement as to what all we've done just in our first week. But yeah, every day. It's been a lot so far, but we also have a lot more coming. Because, you know, every day is pretty much from morning till evening, we're booked full of interviews, meetings, you name it. We're constantly working all day long, trying to continue to build this and really be able to give back to our community. We're not, you know, here to make a quick buck. We're here to build and here to be here for the long run. So we're excited to keep growing.
My final question for you actually is, for anyone starting out in this space, is what advice would you give to someone because of your journey and your experience and how life-changing it's been?
Really what I would have to say to people is keep grinding. Eventually that hard work is going to pay off. You know, I was on Twitter as much as I could possibly be on Twitter whenever this all started, you know, trying to shill my project to people left, right, and center. But the other big thing whenever you're in this space is just being yourself, being genuine, being transparent, because people will feel that genuineness from you. And when people really can connect with you on a person-to-person basis is when people really start getting behind you and your project. And that's what's going to ultimately give you a leg up on some of these other projects, is the fact that there is a true and genuine human behind it. So keep being yourself, keep being genuine, keep being transparent, and keep working on giving back to the community who's given so much to you. And I think definitely people can become successful for sure.
Sarah, you're an absolute inspiration. It's so lovely to hear your story. And I think it's going to get so many people going, you know what, this is the right space for me to be in. I'm a creator. I'm going to do it myself. And I think, you know, good luck to all of those people as well. And I think following your story, there's going to be a lot more fantastic art in this space as well. So let's keep in touch. Let's find out when you've got a new big milestone, and let's get you back on Nifty World again.
Yes, I so am looking forward to that. I adore you, Bex. I'm happy to be here anytime. Just let me know. I love talking with you.
Oh, thank you so much.
So there you have it. What an inspiration that Sarah is. She just gives so much to her community. She's so grateful for everything that's happened to her. She still can't really believe that it's all happened to her, which is incredible. And she keeps on grafting. And that's the most important thing for you guys to know. Yes, a sellout is amazing, but actually the hard work really does start after that. And this is going to be a lifetime mission for Sarah too. So I hope you found it inspiring. I hope you know that this isn't all down to luck, and there's definitely something in here that means hard work really does pay off in the NFT space. Now, if you need any help or support with your project, why not check out videos like this? We interview the Boss Beauties, for instance. They talk about how they sold out their project in just 90 minutes. Again, another incredible female in the space, and so much that you can watch and learn from. So thank you so much for watching, and until next time, see you then.